What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we've got a new Transformers TCG character card to talk about. The problem is we are really running out of Transformers TCG character cards from Wave 3. This might be the last one. I'll have to double check. I might have missed one here or there. But this might be the last one we've actually got to look at. Right now, you'll see a note on the screen. By the time I upload this, I will have double-checked. And if I've missed one, it will be on the screen. Otherwise, this is the last one. But we've got a kind of fun one with which to finish off. And in fact, the more I look at it, the more I'm fairly sure this is the last one. Anyway, who is it? It's Private Pteraxadon? I think that's how we pronounce it. Private Pteraxadon, a new Battle Master. Now, this was revealed by Suzanne over on Twitter, so do go give her a follow, give her a bit of love. You know the deal, ladies and gentlemen, we like having these community reveals, so let's give love to the people doing the community reveals so that they can carry on in future waves. So, what does it do? Well, being a Battle Master, it's quite cheap as a 6 cost, and the stats are pretty bad. Attack of 3 is, to be fair, not too bad. We'd expect 4 on an 8 cost, so 3 on a 6 cost is in line with our expectations. Health of 9, again, it's kind of 3/4 of what we would expect for 3/4 of the star cost. So if we want 12 on an 8 cost, 9 on a 6 cost is fine. Defense of 2 sucks. So we're pretty much in line with what we want, and then we get to the defense, and the defense is terrible. But do remember, it's a Battle Master. And sometimes it doesn't matter. We don't mind Battle Masters being KO'd super quickly, because when Battle Masters are KO'd, they turn into an upgrade that you get to attach immediately. So on the one hand, yes, it's a little bit sad and all of that. But on the other hand, get rid of it. Who cares? It becomes a really quite nice upgrade. And incidentally, there is no skill in bot mode. So really, until it gets KO'd, the best thing it can do is sit there chipping away with an attack of 3, and it's a melee character. Maybe you whack something like a power sword on there or something like that, and then wait for it to become an upgrade. Because when it becomes an upgrade, oh lordy, we're a fan of it when it becomes an upgrade. It gives you +3 attack. Now, bearing in mind, Grenade Launcher gives you +4 attack, and that's so good it falls off at the end of your turn, or when you attack, not the end of your turn, when you attack. This gives you +3. Cool. And it reads, it's a weapon. When the upgraded character attacks, and you flip at least 2 white icons, the defender's base defense becomes 0 during this battle. And I talk about +3 attack, but a +3 attack here is a bit of a misnomer. Because when you're making your opponent to 0 defense, it's not really +3 attack. It's far more like +5, +6, +7. Now, I know reducing your opponent's defense and raising your attack are not exactly the same, but in an awful lot of ways, they might as well be. At the end of the day, what you're doing is adding up your attack and all the orange icons you flip. And then you're adding up your opponent's defense and all the blue icons that they flip, and you are taking away their defense from your attack, and that's how much damage you do. The more attack you have, the more damage you do. The less defense they have, the less damage they do. So that's kind of cool. Now, you do have to flip 2 white icons. That is the gigantic downside here, and we'll get to all that in a moment. You're not always going to make it work. The thing is, if you fail, the worst case scenario here is that you're essentially looking at a slightly weaker grenade launcher that doesn't fall off. +3 attack is still pretty gosh darn good. There are not that many cards that can give you +3 attack. I mean, the one that springs to mind initially is Energon Axe, which does also give you PS2. But it can only be put onto damaged characters. And remember, if you want to play an Energon Axe, you've got to find it. And if you flip it over while attacking or defending, oh no, boo hiss, etc. It's in your discard pile, it's not in your hand, you can't attach it. Whereas here, when Private Pteraxadon gets KO'd, you are just getting this. You get to use it. It goes onto one of your characters and you're rolling. But that's the worst case scenario. That's if it goes completely wrong and you never flip the double white, etc., etc. The thing is, what if you do flip the double white? And the answer is this becomes flat out, over the top, unashamedly phenomenal. Because it really is like getting a huge attack bonus. I mean, let's say for argument's sake, you're coming across something like, let's say a tank. Let's say you're playing against Darkmount. I don't know why Darkmount, but I want to use Darkmount as an example, and I'm doing a video, so I'm going to use Darkmount as an example. Darkmount has a defense of 4 in alt mode. That's pretty gosh darn huge. So if you're attacking Darkmount, all of a sudden, you're not really getting +3 attack, you're essentially getting +7. And yeah, fine, there will be a few characters out there whose defense is already 0. Now, weirdly enough, we're going to start talking about Autobot Jazz in a minute. Autobot Jazz does have a defense of 0 regardless of which mode you're in. So, okay, against Autobot Jazz, it's not going to really make any difference. But there aren't that many characters with a defense of 0, and if they don't have a defense of 0, you're going to be crushing it. But going back to Jazz, what you really want here is to play this as a space filler in a deck where you're playing a whole bunch of white icons. The ideal situation is you're already playing a bunch of white icons. So you might as well pop this in and you're rolling. Because every deck is going to play some white icons. Pretty much every deck is going to be playing around with Force Field for argument's sake. But the thing is, you've got to start making a conscious decision. If you want to go full white, then you have to start making some decisions. You have to play stuff like Debilitating Crystal to try and get rid of upgrades, rather than focusing on something like Ramming Speed, which has an orange icon and could screw up your plans. Now, I'm not saying you're going to literally play every single battle card with white icons, but I am saying that if you want to go as white as you can, you do need to think, hang on a second, can I replace this card with a white icon card every time you put a card in your deck that doesn't have a white icon? So back to Jazz then. Jazz is one of these cards that loves the white icons. When you attack and flip at least 2 white icons, you get Pierce 2. Incidentally, if you're going white, you're not playing lots of orange icons. You're not getting huge attacks. So playing around with something like Pierce would be a huge advantage. In alt mode, when you defend against an enemy that doesn't have Pierce and you flip at least 2 white icons, you cannot take more than 2 damage from an attack. If you go full white icons and you're playing around with Jazz here, you're taking 2 damage per turn, and you can literally start playing stuff like Medic, and you're completely healing every turn. Although please do remember, Medic doesn't have a white icon, and Jazz is only a 6 cost. That's pretty gosh darn good. How about we play around with something like Autobot Mirage? Now, Mirage is one of these characters which has been fascinating me since the game came out. Because if you have a look at it in bot mode, when you attack for the first time and flip at least 3 white icons, you untap it and essentially get to use it again. Not to mention when you flip into alt mode, you get to play an extra action. This is a really quite phenomenal card. If you've got enough white icons, of course. And the other one we had back in Wave 1 was Chromia. Chromia is another character that absolutely adores white icons. Because if you're in bot mode, if you are attacking and flip 2 white icons, you draw 2 cards. Draw power is good. And when you flip into alt mode, you return a card that has at least 1 white icon from your scrap pile to your hand. And if you're playing majority white icons, that essentially means you can recover whatever you gosh darn well like. And I've already mentioned Force Field. Let's give another example of a card that really takes advantage of the white icons. How about Rapid Conversion, which lets you flip your characters a bit more often? And these characters I'm talking about aren't terribly expensive. Chromia's sitting there at an 8 cost, Jazz is a 6 cost, Mirage is a 9 cost. So you can afford to play a few of these along with Private Pteraxadon and still have a decent deck of a decent amount of characters. And essentially the conclusion on Pteraxadon is this. If you're playing a deck with a lot of white icons, this is phenomenal. And you will be doing a lot more damage than you were expecting to do, and it will be awesome. Because let's say you're not playing any orange icons, something like Jazz with this attached, you're going to essentially be doing 6 damage, minus any blue icons they flip. And if you're not playing against a deck that plays a lot of blue icons, you're going to basically be doing 6 damage a turn. On a character that has a base attack of 3, doing 6 damage a turn is phenomenal. If you're not playing a deck of a whole bunch of white icons, I don't think you can afford to play this. Because the fact of the matter is, without the bonuses you're getting from white icons, what you really have here is a 6-cost character with bad stats who turns into a +3 attack upgrade. And frankly, ladies and gentlemen, almost any other Battle Master would be better at this point. And I think that's where we are. I'll tell you what though, I'm looking at this straight off the bat, and I'm thinking Mirage, Jazz, Pteraxadon, and I've still got some stars left over. I think there is some love to be had here. But I would very much like to know what you think. So please do let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk about a whole bunch of games, because by now, say it with me, ladies and gentlemen, my name's Wossy, and I do like games. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.